Welcome back to the Shipyard. Today we are talking about Deep Space Nine. That's right, the oversized model that you can purchase and get a couple of cards to play the station and a crew pack featuring some of your favorite characters from the show. So, what do you get in the pack? Well, first off, I want to talk about a version of Deep Space Nine that you get from playing in the organized play event. That version has the special ability that when you fire torpedoes, you do not disable them. This gives you the flexibility you need to have good action economy. I really like throwing quantum torpedoes to add in a lot of extra damage. I think that it gives the station a lot of extra firepower, but ultimately, this version of the station is not the best version. The version of Deep Space Nine that you get with the retail pack has the special ability that each time you defend, during the roll defense dice step, you can roll up to 2 additional defense dice. If you do so, you have to disable 1 active shield for each additional die you roll. So basically, you are taking a chance of suffering more shield damage or maybe even hull damage to maybe evade. Now, it's a risk. I kind of like it. I haven't actually played it, but I think that it's a gamble worth taking. It's more useful than a single evade action, but in conjunction with an evade action, maybe with Rudolph Ransom, taking an evade, maybe even with data, so you're rolling less attack dice, but you're getting the double evade. I could see this working really nicely to not take very much damage, if any damage, from a ship when it attacks you. There is also Terok Nor, that's the Dominion version of Deep Space Nine. Its special ability is that instead of making a normal attack with your primary weapon, you can fire in any direction at range 1 to 3 with 4 attack dice. Now, this has been ruled. You can still fire at range 3, even though there's the 360 limitation of range 1 to 2 with the Borg and anything else that might have a native 360. This is an ability, not a natural arc. I like the ability. I think going down to 4 dice is a perfect compromise to be able to get that range 3. I think that Terok Nor has a place. I personally like it. I think range 3 on a station is huge since the station is about a foot across, and that takes up a large portion of the board. Yes, it moves very, very, very slowly, but the longer a game goes, the station will be in a very good place to be able to attack basically anything you want. So being able to shoot at anything at any time, great ability. Naturally, we have Captain Benjamin Sisko. He's a skill 7, cost 4. During the roll defense dice step of the combat phase, if your ship is in the forward firing arc of 2 or more ships, roll 1 extra defense die against all attacks from those ships. Each time your ship receives a damage card, increase your captain skill by 1 for the rest of the game. So Sisko actually comes with 3 captain tokens, a skill 7, a skill 8, and a skill 9, and you physically replace them, showing that he is going up in skill. I'm not the biggest fan of this because of the wording of forward firing arc. Now that the Borg are less prevalent and their 360s aren't coming into play as much, I think it shows up more that he will get that extra defense die, so I could see him actually captaining a Voyager ship. The problem is that the things that are prevalent right now are Voyager, dorsal weapons array, dorsal phaser array, any kind of weapon that gives you extra range, extra arcs, even torpedoes that fire out the rear, something like that doesn't trigger Sisko's ability. Given that, I still think you can make him work. You need to be able to capitalize on those extra defense dice, which means that you need some way of making ships attack you. My personal favorite would be Julian Bashir from the Mirror Universe, which can force a ship to attack you, and when they do, you make them roll 2 less attack dice against you. So not only are they rolling less dice, but you're rolling more defense dice, meaning that their entire attack is going to be less useful. And I think that can make Sisko playable. First off, we have Elam Garak. During the modified defense dice step, you can disable him to add an evade to any of your rolls. You don't pay faction penalty when putting Garak or a talent on your ship. If he's ever disabled or discarded, you cannot use his talent. So a couple of options for Garak. One, he's a cheap talent carrier, which is useful in this game. Talent slots are not the easiest thing to get, although admirals make that easier. Two, being able to disable a card to get an extra evade after you see what your opponent rolls is a pretty nice ability. Now, 4 points, little pricey, but I still like that flexibility. Just take Garak, be able to disable him, have some other kind of combo to re-enable, Fleet Captain, Phlox, other things of that nature. I think you're in business. So Garak, certainly a playable card. Julian Bashir. As an action, move a disabled upgrade token from one of your disabled crew or tech to one of your non-disabled crew or tech. You may then immediately perform the action of the upgrade that you moved the token from as a free action. So essentially, you are playing ping pong with disabled tokens and being able to take extra actions. The problem I see with Bashir is that you first have to get something disabled. But once you can get something disabled, there are numerous combos that this can work with. One of which is TOS Sulu, being able to get extra defense dice. Another would be some of the Dominion crew that disable to repair damage, flip criticals over, stuff like that. Bashir has some weird uses, but if you go looking for the combos, he can enable things. If you have some weird uses for Bashir, I'd love to hear them in the comments. Let me know. Odo! Everyone's favorite changeling. At least my favorite changeling. As an action, target a ship at range 1 to 3, even a ship that is cloaked or has active shields. Disable this card and one upgrade on the target ship. If the upgrade you disable is a crew, you can then use that upgrade's action, if any, as a free action. I love Odo. He is a great way to disable the link in someone's chain that they need to work in order to keep their combo going. We are seeing so many things now with Federation dreadnoughts and the crew that make them work with Paris and Riker, Sulu, and all kinds of things so that they're rolling absurd number of defense dice. If you can start pinging disabled tokens on them, it throws a wrench in their plans and it makes someone adapt, and sometimes if a player gets a little out of shape, it can give you all the advantage you need to make it work. Odo might just be enough to make your opponent scratch their head, get off their game, and give you a chance to strike. So think about Odo. Quark. At the start of the game, place a non-Borg weapon with a cost of 5 or less, this does include cross-faction penalty, face down beneath this card. At any time, you can discard Quark to flip the upgrade that's beneath Quark, face up, and deploy it to your ship, even if it exceeds your ship's restrictions, meaning even if your ship doesn't have a weapon slot available, you can do this. Quark can also take a tech and do the exact same thing. Quark works for a weapon or a tech, very versatile, 2-point cost, 3 points for most things because Ferengi aren't that good that you want to take Quark on anything. I like taking Quark and taking antimatter mines out, getting a cheap version of those. Maybe Quark for cheap multi-adaptive shields. Some kind of tech that you can use, just ditch Quark, put the tech or the weapon that you need right away, and get out of there. Takar, Klingon crew. Action, if your ship is not cloaked, disable all of your remaining shields. Target a ship at range 1 to 2 that is not cloaked, has no active shields. Discard Takar and one crew upgrade of your choice on the target ship. Then disable the captain card and all remaining crew upgrades on the target ship. Takar is a step in the right direction because he is one-time use, but he has more effects. He will disable everything crew-wise and the captain. And I love that he disables the captain and all of the crew. It really messes with your opponent if you can get their shields down. So how do you get their shields down reliably? Well, you need another ship with projected stasis field. You can have a low skill ship with projected stasis field and then either another low ship with Takar or a slightly higher ship with the car, something that will move before your opponent does. You can get in there and disable their shields with projected stasis field, and then get in there with the car, disable their captain and all of their crew, and you can really put a hurt on them. Yes, that means they'll move and they'll get an action to re-enable something, but one thing is not enough to get everything back. And for that one turn, you will probably be able to put a hurt on them, maybe enough to actually kill them. And that's the goal here. So yeah, you need a combo to make it work. Takar becomes a piece of the puzzle, but I think he's a very useful piece of the puzzle, especially with the proliferation of Federation ships. Takar, very underrated card. Give him another look. See what he can do for you. Next we have Tarul, Romulan Crew. Add 1 tech upgrade slot to your upgrade bar. If that was it for the Romulans, we'd be good. While your ship is cloaked, during the roll defense dice step of the combat phase, you can choose to roll 3 less defense dice and add 1 evade result to your defense roll. I love it. Right there. That would be good enough. But wait, there's more. If the cloaking device upgrade is deployed to Tarul's ship, you do not need to disable that card when you perform the action. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Tarul is meant to go on the Defiant when she cloaks, or she's meant to go on the Coronac or the Keldon class when they use the cloaking device. She is meant to go cross-faction. She is an officer exchange program candidate here. This is thematic. I love Tarul. She is amazing. I wish she was 3 cost instead of 4. Romulan upgrades get the short end of that stick. But Tarul is right for this game. Rolling 3 less defense dice to get an evade is perfect. Think about the number of times you've been cloaked and you roll 5 dice and it's 1 evade and 4 blanks in battle stations. Well, now you can roll 2 dice, have an evade, and maybe get a second evade. Or maybe 3 total evades. I think I'd take that. I'll take my chances on that. Anyways, Tarul, great. Lastly, Vic Fontaine. He is a question mark, but he is either crew or tech. If an enemy upgrade would affect one of your crew, roll 2 defense dice. If you roll at least 1 evade, ignore the effects of the enemy upgrade, and you don't pay a faction penalty when putting him on a Federation ship. Fontaine is protection on your Fed Dreadnought against things like Takar, Gorn Raiding Party, Klingon Boarding Party. All these things that mess with your crew, Vic Fontaine is your safety net. So think about it. I'm not saying you have to take them, but it's maybe something you want to consider. If you're really worried about the counterplay, then this is your counter to the counterplay. Just a thought. Overall, Deep Space Nine. Do you have to have it? No. It's a fun piece. The model is fun. It's fun to fly a station. But the crew pack brings in a lot of weird options into this game. I personally enjoy it. I think that they did well with it to give you different options without having anything that you have to have. But still, everything in this pack promotes creativity and gives you pieces of puzzles that may or may not be important, but the more we see, I think that everything here has a place that you can use if you want to, and you can disregard if you want to. Anyways, that's my thoughts on Deep Space Nine, crew pack, and the ship. I hope you've learned something at the Shipyard. Until next time, like, subscribe, comment. Love to hear more from you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Take care.